Hey guys, what's up? This is the other half 1993 with a new edition of Tips and Tricks, as promised. Again, I have Jeff here with me,
What's up, guys?
and he actually provided the topic and some very interesting and useful card choices for this week's Tips and Tricks, which is going to be about tech cards for the format right now. Like I said, Jeff had a lot of really good suggestions, and then I had some ideas too. And we came up with 6 cards that I think could really help in the new form, or not the new format, but the format as it is right now. Which one should we do first?
This is the most obvious one that probably everybody already knows about.
Okay, yeah. These cards are going to be for pretty much every deck in general. So the first one is, as Jeff, if you overheard him saying, the most obvious and one people already know about is Kaiku the Ghost Destroyer. Very, very good card this format, particularly against the Lightsworn and Vayu Turbo. If used against the Lightsworn, they can't remove their Necro Gardenas, and then obviously you can just do damage and remove, Lightsworns and Plague Sprayers and whatnot. This is especially helpful against Vayu Turbo, though, because not only do they not get their Necros, they also don't get to use Vayu's effect to remove it and the other Blackwing. And then obviously you can just, hit with Kaiku, remove the Vayu. You have anything you want to add to that, Jeff?
It's just really great for control.
Yeah, I don't know if I would cite it in Lightsworn, but if you're using any kind of... Well, pretty much everything that isn't Lightsworn can use it effectively. Gladiators can cite this card pretty effectively. Blackwings, Standard or Vayu Turbo can always do with Kaikus. It's just overall a really, really nice card to have in your extra deck, or side deck, or main deck if you're like running Blackwing or Vayu Turbo and you have the room to tech one or two of these. It's just a very good card in general. We'll move on to the next one.
Yep.
Okay. All right, next card we're gonna talk about is Fairy Wind, a common card from Ancient Prophecy that was fairly overlooked and dismissed when it first came out, but a lot of players are giving it a second glance now in this new format as far as side deck choice goes. What Fairy Wind does is, I have to double check on this because I'm even not 100% sure. Okay, Fairy Wind destroys all face-up spell and traps in the field, then deals damage to both players for 300, but that for 300 per destroyed card. But that's not the main thing right now. The main reason people want to side Fairy Wind is against decks like Blackwing and Vayu Turbo have started picking up use of cards like Oppression and Skill Drain, and if you're being, what's the word I'm looking for? If they're just bogging you down, especially in Gladiator Beast, I know I'm going to try this card for sure. I know a lot of people who are using this card in their side decks. But Fairy Wind is just a real easy way to knock out one or even multiple or even one face-up spell and traps at the same time. Anything you want to add?
And although it's kind of random, there's random burn damage, like if you need it. Like, I know it deals some to you too, but like it's just there.
Yeah, the burn damage, it really doesn't make that much of a difference in the card. I mean, I guess it's nice and then it's not because it does it to both players, but it's really insignificant, only 300 per card. At most you'll be taking maybe 900 at a time for this, but even then that's pretty doubtful. Oh, and don't forget, Crystal Beast decks, Fairy Wind wrecks you. But when the last time there was a competitive Crystal Beast deck, I don't think there ever has been one. Anyway, moving on to the next card. We have for Blackwing, in particular, is Trap Hole. This card has been mulled over a lot against Blackwing. The use of this card has been, debated and discussed. Just because Trap Hole, it really is a good card against Blackwing, particularly because it will prevent Blackwings from getting their Black Whirlwind off. Plus, it can hit monsters like Gale, Blizzard, and Klute that Bottomless otherwise cannot hit. But yeah, again, mainly it's there for prevention of Black Whirlwind.
Like it hits Lumina, Lila. That's kind of random, but like It's just there, and tonight I tried it out as like a replacement for the third bottomless that we lost, and it was pretty good.
Now, does trap? I don't know for sure, but does trap hold target? Oh, let's actually.
I don't think it should. Maybe. Yeah, I think it does.
Yeah, I think it does actually, because it only hits one monster bottomless. It's multiple.
Yeah.
Because I was gonna say, yeah, it does hit Lumina, and I was actually wondering if it hit Arcus or not. But if it targets, which I'm pretty sure it does, then it won't hit Arcus. But still, Lumina. Yeah, it's definitely a main deck choice. I could see myself maining it, maybe.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, well, I might just go ahead and annotate that in. We'll look that up, and then I'll just add it in. Yeah, okay. Well, let me just check the time here. Okay, 6 minutes. Okay, sweet. Next card choice is Giant Trunade. This is one that all decks could really make use for. Pretty much for the same reason Fairy Wind is being used. With the abundance of spells and traps that are being set right now between Gladiator Beast and Standard Blackwing and Vayu Turbo, that extra spell trap removal is always nice, and Trunade is just there. And in a way, Trunade is almost it has advantages over Heavy Storm, particularly that your opponent might be reluctant to use like a Solemn Judgment on a Giant Trunade as opposed to Heavy Storm.
I've said it before, and I'll say it again. This card is really good with Blackwings because Blackwings can just do so much damage in one turn.
Yeah, and then with, the spell trap gun, they don't have any real fear of removal.
Yeah.
And obviously, they can just play their Black War ones again.
Yeah.
Trunade overall is just a really nice card to have because basically it gives you one free turn to do whatever you want. Similar to the way Cold Wave kind of did before it got limited. But yeah, Giant Trunade, again, definitely a card to think about for this format. Our next card is My Body is a Shield, which is, I think, personally my favorite of these 6. My favorite tech card in general for this format. My Body, it just has so many uses right now. Especially with Solemn being limited. My Body almost acts as a replacement Solemn because just think of all the cards it hits. I mean, it hits Murmillo, Gyzarus, Celestia, Raikou, Judgment Dragon, Stardust Dragon, Smashing Ground, Dad. That's all I can think of right now.
Bottomless.
Bottomless, Mirror Force, Torrential. They're just so many other My Bodies. There's just a ton of cards that My Body can stop, and 1500, depending on the situation, can be either expendable or cheap, but for the most part, you really shouldn't have trouble paying 1500. I mean, if you've gotten that low that you can't afford 1500, you're likely in a losing situation anyway. Anything you want to add at all, Jeff?
You're just like, your opponent can't do much if all they have set is bottomless, and you play that,
Yeah. It just
definitely worth it.
It just, for any deck in general, especially I know for Gladiator Beast, it lets you make those big plays without any fear of destruction. And the fact that you can just hold it in your hand, and then when they bottomless, just lay it down. Like, they don't have a chance to MST it during the end phase like they could Solemn.
Yeah.
It's just, like I said, it's just a really handy card to have just because it lets you make those big plays without fear. And we have one more card we're going to discuss, and this is, I think, Jeff, didn't you say this was like your favorite pick for this format? Soul Release. I'm going to let Jeff talk about this one because this is more his choice than mine.
It's so many uses. If you're playing Blackwings that obviously made a Dad, you could control your graveyard. Also, it totally works against Lightsworn and Vayu Turbo, and even just regular Blackwings with Vayus in it. Also, it can hurt Gladiator Beast, like if they have a Chariot or a Bestiary or any monster in grave, because they always toolbox from their grave. So,
as a Gladiator Beast player, I can definitely say that's true. I definitely find myself relying, on a Quest and Darius on almost, every match. I'll need an Quest or Darius. Every game, really.
The Quest is so really, really good right now, and Soul Release just takes that option away.
Yeah. And then, like, if you're using a dark base deck like Blackwing, it does, to a certain extent, to a great extent, let you control your graveyard. Like, if you have 1 or 2 darks in grave, you can just move 2 of them. And you don't even have to pick 5. It does say up to 5.
What?
You
I
didn't
didn't even know that.
You didn't know that? But yeah, it does say up to 5, so you don't have to pick 5 cards, but, you know, if your opponent has 5 cards in grave, even if their spells are trapped, you know, you might as well move them.
Yeah. And your opponent's just gonna be like, so like, they won't ever see Soul Release coming if you like tech it, like main it.
Yeah. Alright guys, well we're out of time now, so that was tips and tricks, tech choices. These are the 6 cards again. Thanks for watching guys, this is the other half 1993. Peace out.